Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I am Nurse Blue, and I'm here to bring you the CEO Flow. So, welcome everybody to the CEO Flow. I am so excited to be here with you this morning. And for you wonderful CEOs or whoever you are out there that's leading people, places, and things, you might be a CEO, you may be the president, you might be a senior vice president, or you just might be someone who is a mom who is leading her home-based business and you want to know how to stay in the CEO flow. So I'm here to support you. And how am I going to support you by today? I'm going to support you by living up to my name. See, Blue, and that's who I am, Nurse Blue. I am here to build you. I'm here to love you. I'm here to unite us and empower you about how to thrive because the highest form of the highest CEO state is thriving. And so you're hearing a lot about thriving this year, but largely because 2025 rhymes with thrive, right? So when we come up with these great slogans of how we're going to move forth in the year being successful, we come up with things that kind of rhyme the with the name of the year, right? So I love that this year in our business, the Soul Health and Wellness Club, we're going to support you by deciding to thrive. So here's how I'm going to support you in your thrive state. Your thrive state is your most joyous state. And it is, quite frankly, the best way for you to achieve whatever goals you have this year. I mean, let's face it, we all decided that we want to be successful in business. And what does that look like for you? What does that look like? Largely, if you are in business, it might very well be down to the bottom line. You want to do more this year than what you did probably in 2024. So you've already projected how to get there. Well, if you are working with people, the best thing, and most of us are, the best way for you to get there is first and foremost is if you create the environment to thrive within yourself, and then you pass that on to your team and you support that with passing it on to your clients or every life you might touch. And so, as a nurse, I want to help you get there. As a wellness coach, I want to support you with the best ways to support you and thrive it. As a musicologist, I want to introduce sound healing. And as a person who is going after your number one enemy to thriving, I want to give you a plan of action to take out our number one enemy. And today, that snake that we are coming for that will prevent you from thriving is I want to introduce you to this whole concept of compounded fear. Compounded fear. Have you guys ever heard of compounded fear? Okay, so in the world of finance, many of us have probably have heard of compounded interest, right? And that's the kind of interest you want to have, right? Because as interest compounds or then guess what? On our money, we are able to increase the value of what we have, and also increase our wealth. And so when you take that same idea and you apply it to compounded fear, that is our enemy now that's taking place here in the United States and probably all over the world. But because I work here in the United States, I want to help you come after that enemy. So I'm looking at some notes now because this is so important. I want to make sure I do not that I don't miss anything, okay? Because here's the reality of it. It is a virus and it is spreading. And it's compounded fear is something we've been living in for quite some time. And that's, this whole idea of navigating the world that we are currently experiencing. And this compounded fear, actually, we've been carrying it for years now. It probably started, not necessarily started, but I would say it went to an all time high around 2020 with the pandemic and living in a state of fear, constantly, being reminded of this invisible killer that unfortunately claimed the lives of 1 million people here in the United States and millions globally, right? And so we have had to learn how to manage compounded fear. Now, here in the United States, since that time, we've had natural disasters, many hurricanes down here where I am, here in Florida, earthquakes in different places throughout the world, the fires in LA, tornadoes that have taken place and have, literally literally taking out entire communities. And this is coming on back one tragic moment after another. We're talking about the mass shootings. Do you guys know just in 2024 alone, there were 488 mass shootings here in the United States? So all of these things that I'm mentioning to you right now, and you might even be feeling it in your body. The discomfort by me even mentioning them. But we have been living through this and living through this with our airways constantly being I would say this information is always being projected into our airwaves by the media. There's a certain, the media has a responsibility of communicating news to us, yes, right? But how much is too much negative news? How much is it? When is it too much? And I will tell you, we are on an overdose of this. Now, recently, obviously, if you have been paying attention to the news, and I'm sure you've been hearing a lot about American news because over the last few weeks, as we entered into January, we've also have been managing our fears around the new administration and all the changes that's taking place, right? So with the DEI changes, with the changes that are taking place with companies deciding to whether they move forth with their DNI efforts or they're laying people off. We're hearing a lot of layoffs taking place right now. And the government, we're hearing about a lot of changes taking place in the programs. So every change is creating more fear. You see, it's adding up, guys, because not only are we hearing about it in the news, but now many people are experiencing these changes. And so we're talking about it, even here on where I am, LinkedIn, or on YouTube, we're hearing about it, or Facebook. It's everywhere, right? We're talking about it with our friends. We're talking about it, we're reading about it. It's like we are suffering from negativity right now. And that's where this compounded fear is coming from. Now, how is this impacting us in our businesses? Well, people who are experiencing compounded fear, they're not leaving it at home, they're bringing it to the workplace. It begins to invade our culture because with compounded fear, the reason why it's compounded is because I will tell you this here in America, Americans, what I have learned, what I have experienced, what I know for sure after serving Americans all of my life, we are uncomfortable with doing the inner work. And what we do with our fears most of the time is we lie to ourselves about having them. And we have been taught to not deal with our fears. We have a tendency to come up with a quick catchy phrase like, oh, it'll be okay. Just hang in there, right? And while that may be a band-aid on how we can motivate ourselves to go a little bit further, that still hasn't dealt with the cause of whatever that fear is, right? We also have a tendency to find things to cope with fears rather than deal with them. One of the ways in which we cope with our fears is becoming workaholics because work can become a distraction. Now, the fear still exists, but we're finding a way not to deal with it, but to cope by working excessively into oftentimes a state of exhaustion. But here's what happens when we start not processing our fears over a period of time. It starts to impact our endocannabinoid system. So if you've been, following me with the CEO flow over the last few weeks, you may have heard me talk about the endocannabinoid system because quite frankly, it is the most important physiological system in your body for maintaining balance. So when there are compounded fears, that's the system that it's coming from. Right now, what's important about that system is that although signs and symptoms of fear, which is also termed chronic stress, will show up as maybe you having problems with sleeping at night, maybe you're having problems with increase in your blood pressure, increase in blood sugar, increase in cortisol. While that may show up as signs and symptoms, that is not where the real problem lies. The problem lies, which is fear, in destabilizing the endocannabinoid system. And because that system modulates all of the other systems, and I call them the idea systems. I mean, it modulates all systems throughout the body, but these are the most important. And the most important for your workforce, most important for your team, most important for you, um, I would say, just generally, personally. But these are definitely the systems that you want operating at full scale when you are trying to thrive. And that would be your immune system. That's our system that protects us against disease. It protects us against, when people are calling in, with, they are experiencing some type of illness and they got to go to the doctor. Usually it has to do with the immune system is being attacked or has been compromised in some way, and they're going to check it. They're going to go to the doctor, to see what the problem may be. The digestive system. Okay, I'm talking about the idea systems of the body. The immune system, the digestive system. Of course, 75% of the immune system is in the digestive system, but we want to make sure that that digestive system is in a state of flow, right? Also, our endocrine system. I mean, that's our hormonal system. Sorry, I couldn't get it out. But you want to make sure that that system is stable. And cortisol increases, then guess what? So does inflammation in the body. That's why heart disease is the number one killer. That's why you have people that are suffering from aches and pains throughout their body. And then, of course, the number one system for fight or flight is the autonomic nervous system. So when the ECS is out of balance and those systems are out of balance, we're going to have a problem, which is why it is absolutely important that we know how to govern that system. So when fear shows up, then we know how to activate our power to deal with it. Okay, is this making sense? So when you have people who are suffering from the fear of what's taking place with DEIs, right, or the tariffs, or the problems with that we're hearing around the immigration issues now that you are seeing on the news, where different cities are now deporting. Again, that's increased fear in the atmosphere, because whether it's impacting you or not, we are all, interacting with each other in various ways. And it's increasing the amount of tension in the atmosphere. It's compounded stress when it's increasing um, the instability around us. People become a lot more panicked inside. It increases anxiety, which is fear of the future, employment fears, inflation fears. These things are piling up and they're compounding one after the other. Before we process last week's problems, we already dealing with this week's issues, right? So here's what I'm going to suggest we do, because I was actually introduced to compounded fear at a very early age. What I suggest we do is we take this seriously. This is not something that we look back on and continue to look at our health as being reactive. No, when you take care of the endocannabinoid system is all about you loving your soul back to health, quite frankly. And you are doing this to prevent problems, such as the story I'm about to tell you about right now. So, when I was growing up, actually, one of my mother's good friends was a nurse, and she was actually the first nurse I can even remember being introduced to. And I really admired this woman. She was a beautiful woman, great spirit. And she just looked like she had so much joy and happiness in her life. And I think she was a nurse at Northwestern Hospital in Chicago. Um, and so I remember one time, my mother receiving a call. that this woman who I looked up to, that looked like she had this fabulous life, she was definitely involved in a number of the social groups in Chicago. She had two sons. One of her sons was a student in one of the prestigious universities. I believe it was Northwestern in Chicago. And she had another son who was doing well. And she just looked like someone that was thriving. Okay. I would never, ever forget the day that I woke up and made my way down to the kitchen to have breakfast. And as a little girl, reading the story of this woman's life that was on the front page of the Chicago Sun-Times, talking about the fact that this same woman who had compounded fear has snapped, because that's what people can do when they are taking on compounded fear. She had snapped, she had shot her son, and then in an attempt to end his life, ended her own, right? So he lived, um, and she committed suicide. I'll never forget that, because that was the very first time I had been introduced to what compounded stress was all about. And then later on, when my mother began to talk with her friends and talk with her family, and she learned more about what she was going through, she learned that she was dealing with the pressures of life. And she learned that she was suffering from financial issues. She learned that she was having problems in her marriage. She learned that she was going through the pressures of navigating her circumstances, and she wanted out because the stress of it all had an impact on this system that I'm talking about, endocannabinoid system, and her way of dealing with compounded fear. Her way of dealing with compounded fear was to take her own life. And that is why we're hearing a lot about increased suicides amongst people generally, but particularly young people. Over the past few years, I have heard from dear friends of mine, people who I'm connected to, clients who have family members whose children in their 20s, whose children in their teens are checking out, taking their own lives because of compounded fears. And here's what happens: those same people, their parents are now grieving for the rest of their life. That when suicide happens, it leaves a lasting impression on every life who knew that soul. Because there are people who live in deep regret. There are people who live in shame. There are people who live in depression for the rest of their lives because someone didn't know how to deal with compounded stress, compounded fear. That's why it's a snake. Now, here's what I want us to do now as we move forth with the answer on how to deal with this. Let's put on a little bit of music to inspire us, because we cannot build our empires when we're suffering from this harmful snake called compounded fear. And y'all know how I feel about fear, right? Fear is my enemy. So that means we got to get rid of it, right? So here's how I suggest we look at this. I know it is increasing because last week, I mean, guys, I live in paradise. I do. I am so blessed to live in the area where I live because I'm surrounded by nature and beauty and abundance, right? And last week on my walk, I saw a gentleman that was absolutely infected with compounded fear. And I paid attention to it. I recognize it because I am so in touch with um, I'm so self-aware, and having to learn soul health. I increased my soul health technology to go into different places and feel frequencies, right? And so I purposely moved in a different direction and moved away from that person who I knew had that fear, because in that state, you don't ever know what could happen when a person is carrying that, right? Maybe perhaps he was at the park to go and deal with it, but he didn't go into the park. He was just watching people as they passed through. And I just so happened to see him. Well, I took another direction, and guess what? The same gentleman entered onto the same path I was. So I knew it was there to teach me something. So I prepared emotionally and mentally, because now this person and I was inevitably going to pass each other, right? And I was not afraid, because I didn't meet fear with fear. I just recognized fear was present, right? And as we passed, I could feel the tension that this person was dealing with. And we were walking in a circle around a lake. And so as I was coming back around the lake, I saw him attempting to walk in the same direction. He paused, and so did I. We both came to a screeching halt. It was absolutely incredible how these energies were meeting. So I did what I needed to do to prepare my energy, as I noticed that this gentleman had compounded fear. And as I sat and as I stood in my authority, trying to see what he was going to do, he decided to turn left and keep on down the street, because fear and me, we don't exist in the same space. So he kept moving. And then as I continued to walk, and noticed that he was definitely gone, I encountered a woman, and I let her know that, just to be careful, be aware. And she noticed him as well, and said she felt something really weird about this gentleman too. So I say all that to say this: it's there. And you don't want it coming to your business. You don't want it coming to your doorstep. And so, first and foremost, I never bring you a problem without a solution. So let me provide you with some solutions. The most important thing you must do right now in this day and age is learn about your endocannabinoid system. And I am here to be a resource for you in how to do that. Okay. Because most of our doctors, I would say, and here in the Western world, well, I'll say here in America, I don't know what they're doing in Europe, but here in America, they do not teach about the endocannabinoid system unless they've just started including them in the medical books. All right. But I've gone to nursing school, obviously, and we weren't taught about this system. And I continue to encounter medical professionals who've never heard of it. But the information is out there. And if you want more information on endocannabinoid system, please reach out to me. I will definitely send you some tools. But I want you to look at her. I see her as a woman, as someone that it's time for you to build a relationship with. Now, the ECS is a physiological system. It's a bioneural system that's involved in maintaining balance in your health. So if you need, and all of us need balance, all of us need good health. Okay. So that's where the solution is. It's not in the body. The solution to that problem, you have to cut a snake off at the head. You cut a snake off by stabilizing your ECS, your endocannabinoid system, because it helps to regulate your brain's limbic system. And that limbic system is the one that's responsible for your emotions, your motivation, and our stress response. So when fear takes a hold of us, it actually takes over our souls, which is why it's a soul health issue, because fear takes over the way we think, it takes over the way we feel, and it stops us in our tracks, or or it may not stop us in our tracks. It may lead us to make some terrible decisions with our actions, right? That we can regret for the rest of our life and destroy our life with them. But the ECS is how we manage it. So a well-toned endocannabinoid system, can help us recover from major stresses. It can help us from becoming overwhelmed by stress. It regulates our cortisol levels, and also what it can do is it helps us to regulate our trauma. Because when people have compounded fear, that's oftentimes related to compounded trauma. And so what the ECS does a really good job of, it helps us to integrate that trauma in a way that it does not become overpowering and can destabilize us mentally and emotionally. Some people can lead to psychosis if this doesn't happen. Okay. All right. Now, when we support this system, you'll have better sleep. It'll regulate your pain. It'll improve your appetite. It also helps you to improve your memory. So you cannot lose with this. All right. So the first things first. All right. I'm going to recommend some things that we can do in treating our woman good. Understand it is all about self love. So if you really want to stabilize your environment, you need to create a loving, nurturing environment inside of your business right now. Because when people don't trust where they work, or they are living in a state of distrust, that increases fear. So create community within the culture where people can feel safe. All right. And one of the ways you can do that is just increasing your wellness strategy overall. Perhaps inviting myself to come and talk to your organization about how to take care of the endocannabinoid system could definitely be a wellness strategy for you. You know, um, Here's another thing. Take my joy and well-being assessment so you can see where you are in terms of your own health. When you have problems with your endocannabinoid system, guys, usually the reason why, as I mentioned to you before, is that you have increased fear, so you're suffering from a joy deficiency. So when you take this well-being assessment, what I'm able to do is, see what are the stressors that are contributing to the imbalance in your endocannabinoid system. Find ways to increase your joy. So, as we increase your joy, one of the things you definitely want to do is um, integrate sound healing into your strategy. And that's where I come in because I'm a musicologist. When you integrate sound therapy, sound healing into your mix, it can definitely be soothing to your endocannabinoid system, because what it can do is introduce harmonic frequencies that brings stillness. It brings relaxation. It helps to decrease cortisol. And if you can do this over a sustained period of time, this is soothing to your endocannabinoid system. All right. So for those of you who are interested in learning more about the endocannabinoid system and how to bring health and harmony to it, first and foremost, you want to send me a DM so I can see the joy and well-being assessment. Number two, the second thing you want to do, you want to start creating a culture of health and well-being. So creating within your culture of your business, upgrading your um, upgrading your health and wellness strategy to include sound healing, meditation, um, place, finding places where your staff, your team can come and get together to truly connect in a way that is authentic and supportive. Because when people feel like they are in healthy environments where it feels like family, home away from home, they have a tendency to become more loyal. Anytime you feel more appreciated, you get more out of a person when they feel appreciated, when they seem seen, when they feel validated, particularly in a time right now in America where so many people don't feel that. You will set yourself up to win when you help people understand that I see you and I'm with you. Upgrading your conversations around health with your speakers. Again, learning about the endocannabinoid system is something that you don't have a specialty in, but bringing experts in to teach people how to self-regulate, because this is a self-regulating system, right? So when people understand what soul health is all about and how to love their souls back to health, they're automatically soothing the endocannabinoid system. Another thing, great nutrition. The endocannabinoid system, eating the green leafy vegetables and foods that are whole and foods that contribute to the well-being of our bodies are really good. And because this month is Black History Month, I have some really great products that I want to recommend that will also be beneficial to helping you to take care of our bodies, be soothing to the endocannabinoid system, and be soothing just for um, making sure that we are giving our bodies the type of nutrients that we need, right? So I'm going to recommend these vitamins that I purchased called Black Girl Vitamins, right? I love these because 82% of Black women are deficient in vitamin D. And so you can take these once a day, plus they're yummy. They're really yummy. So for those of you who like candy, just one, okay? Like me, I had to tell myself just one. But also, they're supportive in iron. I don't know if you know this, but Black women are 3 times more likely to have anemia. So there's an iron deficiency there. Cholesterol, right? So it helps to lower cholesterol. The highest prevalence of heart disease occurs in the Black community because of this. And also for pregnancy, it also, in our community, we have the highest infant and maternal mortality. And so these vitamins here are very supportive. I definitely recommend this. Here's some other things that can be very supportive to our overall health and soothing to our endocannabinoid system. I would say these here are a game changer. These are the Life Wave patches. So this is really cool because what you do, guys, these are small patches that have microcrystals in them that elevate the stem cells in your body, right? It helps to regenerate stem cells. What they do is they help to elevate the peptide, this copper peptide in your body. That's really good for your health. If you want more information about this, please give me a call. It's very simple. You just stick one of these patches on your body, on the back of your neck, or right under your belly button for 12 hours a day. And then you take it off for 12 hours. You got to make sure you drink a lot of water. But people who have been, and I take these to actually support my stem cells. I also take them to support my hormones and my skin. And the results have been remarkable for myself, but just people from all over the world. Like these patches are a really big deal because they help to elevate the vibrational frequency of your cells. And so that's extremely important. So if you want more information about that, guys, I would invite you to please send me a DM, or you can find out all of this information that I'm sharing with you at soulhealthcommunity.com. And you know what? Before we get out of here today, I want to invite you guys, if you really want to do the work of getting rid of the compounded fear, at least detoxing your frequencies of the compounded fear that we have been experiencing over the last few years here in America. And, you know, you're going to hear, all of us are impacted by it because if you're watching TV, if you're on social media, if you're having conversation with friends and families, all we're doing is exchanging stories that is elevating our fear. So all of us need to do this. I'm going to recommend that you take a welcome to the Decide to Thrive life with Nurse Blue. Okay. Decide to thrive. And how do you decide to thrive? Guys, I'm going to recommend that you really consider um, joining me for this detox. And this detox is called the Soul Renewal Detox. It's the Decide to Thrive Soul Renewal Detox. And what we do through this detox is we detox the fears that lead to chronic stress. We detox the fears that destabilize your endocannabinoid system. And we do that by increasing joy in your life. So I'm going to share the 5-step system that I outlined for you in my book, and I'm going to put it up on the screen right now so that you can understand that we are going to be working from my book here. And the name of the book is Freedom is a Frequency. There it is. And I wrote this book specifically for those of you who've decided that you want to thrive. I'm going to show you how you can thrive in 5 simple steps, how you can elevate your energy, your health, your peace, your confidence, your relationships, and your abundance with joy. And you get there by balancing the most important system of your body, your endocannabinoid system. So I have a treat for you right now before we end. We're going to end this in just a moment, but I have a treat for your endocannabinoid system right now. And this one is called Relax in Life because that's what she loves to do. So if you don't mind right now, just take a quick moment. This is going to be less than 3 minutes. But trust me, you're going to enjoy it. This is a beautiful sound medicinal that I'm going to offer you. And this is going to be brought to you by Serafina. And if you enjoy this experience, then I'm going to invite you to join me today in the Soul Health and Wellness Club on Clubhouse at noon for the Decide to Thrive Self Love Party. This is a soulful sound healing session where I introduce blue soul music because blue soul music is definitely soothing to your endocannabinoid system. Okay, guys, all this information you can find it on the soul when you visit soulhealthcommunity.com. All right, so let me give your endocannabinoid system some soothing, great vibrations that she will enjoy. So I'm going to turn off my screen just so you can hear it. And I'm going to ask you if you can to close your eyes, but if not, just limit your distractions and then so you can enjoy this. This is called Relax in Life. Here you go. I'm beginning to relax in life, not rushing, not forcing, yet allowing, flowing, and receiving. I open my heart and mind and allow myself to breathe. I give myself permission to feel worthy of the good things in life. I give myself permission to feel good. I foresee miracles and wonders entering my life. I don't have to stress, worry, or fear. Everything always works out. It always does. So I take a deep breath and trust the process of my life and divine timing. I am not behind. I'm right on time, walking in my purpose. I enjoy watching myself bloom, become, and grow. And I take my time. It feels good to pace myself. There's no need to rush. There's no need to rush to a place that's already there. It will be there when I get there. I'm beginning to relax in life. I take it step by step, day by day. I focus on what's in front of me. I breathe into this present moment and allow tomorrow to take care of itself. On a count of 3, I inhale slowly. 1, 2, 3. And exhale the expectation of the world. I'm beautiful as I am. I don't have to change anything. I don't entertain the thoughts of other people's opinion of me. I don't let that alter my reality. I'm beginning to relax. I'm supposed to feel good. I'm supposed to feel free. I allow myself to breathe. This stage of my life feels good. It feels good. Okay. Did that feel good to you guys? Did that feel good? All right. Well, that is soothing to your endocannabinoid system. So that's kind of the music. That's a sample of blue soul music, which is the best music on the planet. I have a genre, my own genre of music that I share with my people, guys, all to help bring your endocannabinoid system into a state of balance. So, if you want to join me today for a Blue Soul session on the Clubhouse app, go to the Soul Health and Wellness Club. It's taking place noon Eastern time. It is a self-love party, and I have beautiful music, all designed to soothe your endocannabinoid system, to get rid of that compounded fear. I have music designed to build you, to love you, to unite us and empower you. And this is not old music. Oh, no, 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 no. This is the good music of today, okay? The music that your soul is yearning for. Nurse Blue has it for you, and it doesn't just sound good. It is good for your soul. For real, for real. All right. So, with all that being said, we covered a lot today, guys. I hope this was helpful to you. Compounded fear is your enemy. That is the snake that is coming to take you out of thrive state. And your thrive state is your joy state. Your joy state is where you deserve to be in. And not just you, but your family, your team, every life you touch, your customers. If we're all in a thrive state, guess what? We can have heaven on earth today, because I did not come here to experience hell. And as a matter of fact, I don't want you experiencing it either. And that is why I do the work that I do. So without further ado, I want to thank you guys for being with me today for the CEO Flow. I will see you again next Wednesday. Enjoy your Wellness Wednesday. Wednesdays are no longer hump days. No. Wednesdays are days that we're taking care of our health. We got through Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be the day in which we go inward. We take care of our endocannabinoid system, right? And then we prepare ourselves to have a good rest of the week. Okay. So if you want to take the test to see where you are in your endocannabinoid system health, the joy and well-being quiz, please send me a DM and I'll send you the information. If you want the information to learn more about the endocannabinoid system, send me a DM. And if you want to learn more about how to work with me one-on-one so we can align you with Thrive State, so that we can make sure that your endocannabinoid system is where it needs to be to support you no matter what's happening in the world, then send me a DM and let's start working. I want you to apply to work with me, because it's an application process for the Decide to Thrive Detox, and I'm more than happy to support you on the process of making sure that your endocannabinoid system is happy. Okay? All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye bye.